What is up, everyone? My name is Vlad, the crypto trader, part of the Be Independent tribe, and this video is going to be a bit different than usual. This is going to cover my most recent challenge with programming in Python, of course, relative to trading. This idea came about because I was watching some charts, such as this one on Ion, and you can clearly see, especially if we go back a bit in time before price started moving up, that there was a lot of, let's say, accumulation volume. It just looked like someone turned on the volume machine and was heavily accumulating this coin. And there are hundreds of these coins and different pairs. And well, of course, most importantly are usually dollar and Bitcoin pairs, of course. But there's just so many of them, and it's just a pain in the ass to just go over it over and over again and keep a list. And you need to keep it and remember where you kept it. And so I decided, what if I could solve this problem with programming? What if I could automate the entire process? And so I did. The full thing is documented in this thread. So this is a thread from my Twitter post right here, and I also aim to explain it a bit better in this video. So I looked at cases such as Ion. Also, our Link came to mind very, very quickly. I remember watching Link, and in this period right here, and it's just like you look at it, and it's like, damn, like someone, and especially when it went low here, it's like, what is going on here? Like, someone was just turned on the volume machine, and just was fucking up with the price action, just doing something on its own. But this is really telling here. It's just March through May, so 2 months here someone was accumulating this coin. And at the time I was certain. And of course, well, accumulation sometimes can be as clear as this. And but it doesn't mean that it'll go up right away. It may take its time, as we see the case here, which from excuse me, from these levels right here, we are still at 4x multiplier. And if you're a big player, those are considerable gains. Even if you're if you trade with a lot of size, such size that you can move your markets in your direction. Just saying. And also Go comes to mind at the moment off the top of my head. And for Go, we need to zoom out even more. So for Go, the candle was this was the candle. This was the candle that said this one right here. And you see that volume? This one's the candle that said, nope, I'm not going any lower. Retested 2 weeks before that, the low, rejected, came back up into the bottom of the range, and next week, bam, buying interest, volume, right? That's what volume indicates, interest. The more volume you have, the more interest you have, the more participants you have, and in this case, buying, but it works the same way for selling. So really interesting candle right here, and I'm like, well, it is possible because it does stand out here, right? If we hide these, um, well, it does stand out here. Look, this stand out, these two stand out, this one, which is the one I'm interested in, and this one most recent, of course. Well, that's the FOMO candle, or one of the FOMO candles to come, whichever. But yeah, and so what I did, just really quickly, no, let's not go through this. Not also through the script. So what I did, just in really short terms, was I took the data from Binance, so the volume for each coin, and then I ran it across distribution, so statistical distribution. So you have, the most known is the normal distribution, right? So you have your mean, your standard deviation, and so on and so on. And let's say I ran it through that, and so what the perhaps I can even draw it here, right? So everyone, well, hopefully knows what the normal distribution is here. And you have your mean, and let's say, of course, the occurrences at the tails will be uh, much less frequent, but higher in let's say in significance, or are they were the events which I was looking for in this place. So I wasn't looking for mean volume, right? These are not average volume candles. We want peak volume candles. We want candles. We want volume. So in this case, just a number that stands out. And so if I draw it here, this is for one standard deviation and two standard deviations and three standard deviations, and it works exactly the same for the other way. And so I think with if you this is the third standard deviation with three standard deviations each way, you cover all of this, right? All of this area. Damn, looks beautiful. Um, and you cover like 99% of the cases or something. And so you can look for values that are outside of the 99. We want for the 1%. And so that was a bit of a trial and error process. If I'll be honest with you, I tried three standard deviations, but then it just didn't give me all of them. So I would find, for example, this one and this one, but I want to find this one, and I'm really interested in this one. This one is actually what the fuck I like, what I care about here, right? So after running the algorithm a couple of times, I figured, okay, let's try it with two standard deviations. And actually, you know what? It gave to me what I was looking for. So if we just scroll through, there it is at the time. It's like, man, come on. Some graphic challenges, and then I go which statistical distribution should I use? That's not really matter. Doesn't really matter. That's a bit excuse me. That's a bit too specific and too nerdy. Uh, but then these one, so yeah, this is where I started using the two standard deviation, and then I started seeing actually. You see, it catches the one on link. It catches part of that accumulation process. Of course, the foam candles on the ripple. Of course, I mean, if I didn't catch this, that would work. But at the time, that was great because I know that it's actually the algorithm was correctly identifying the number of significant volume candles, which was which is what this challenge was about. And at this point, also Monero here with a double bottom versus Bitcoin, and and here this is where I still wasn't satisfied. So you see, it catches this one, it catches this one. What about these? It's missing. And at the time, I think I played around. I'm not. Let's see. I'm not specifically sure if I did any changes at that point, but here you can see that it's highlighting the correct volume, and specifically this one. So this one is this candle right here. So at that point I had it, and at that point I was satisfied. You know, I was looking for this go volume. It correctly identifies the link one and an ion one, and this that was the reason why I pretty much started the challenge. And here you can actually see it's running. So here's the algorithm. Then it gives me two charts. We're also gonna go through those. And this is actually how the pattern is created. So it's running through the algorithm, and then it immediately outputs the image as a PDF and two separate images for further posting or whatever the idea might be. And actually, how does it end here? I'm not sure, but let's go into the files here. So this is the volume data versus Bitcoin, and here are the number of outliers. So in case we found uh, one case where the graph showed extreme volume, that would go here. So that doesn't have a lot of cases. 2. So 2 has a lot, of course, and then it gets progressively less, right? You get progressively less cases. Well, 5 quite a lot still. I'm not sure if 12. Let's go with 10. Also not 9. So 9, you see? So we catch 9 on Sun, and this is actually this is the final list that it gave me. So versus BTC at the time, so this was around almost a month ago now. This is these were the pairs that showed up on against the Bitcoin pair, and there it is, Bam Bam at the top, Ion, and I was super happy to see that, you know. Also Monero, the other ones didn't really tell me much, but it's always a signal when there's volume. Well, AMB looked kind of shitty, just generally. I mean, AMB is yeah, it's not the next Bitcoin or whatever. Um, well, double bottom here, arguably, would be. It's not the worst point to start looking for longs, but the only way to know that is if you actually have that first signal that tells you, okay, at this point in time, it would actually be interesting to start looking at these coins because those are the coins that have the most volume. So let's go. Let's actually add this. And one thing that I didn't mention, of course, I wasn't looking for all-time volume. And for this one, to prove that that was the case, we're gonna go into the algorithm. So in this case, this is actually July, but I've played around here. I think the end date for me was July. This is definitely July here. So this is what counts. The comment doesn't really count. This is a comment. It doesn't really consider it. So the July was the cutting criteria in the end. Well, can do whatever I please with it really. But I hope this illustrates my point that volume is really an indicator of interest, and you can do really cool things and um, automate the entire process, and do I have the lists here? Guess not. So 12 signals. It would be nice to actually maybe would have done it a bit differently, but here's the chart. So this is weekly, and there it is. And recently we got a lot of volume coming through, actually, which might indicate accumulation or interest, however you interpret that data. And also on Tron, double bottom ish, and then you can start combining these signals with classical technical analysis patterns. This is versus USDT, and look, just on this is weekly. So I mean, every other candle, not even every other, literally every candle, you see. And so this is the PDF. Yeah, so you see here the two standard deviations. So this is kind of the bell curve I was talking about and the statistical distribution. And then you take uh, so this first standard deviation, second standard deviation, third standard deviation, and you take it to the right of that. Those are the not average cases of volume, and these are these cases. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. Maybe here sometimes it's also miss a few, but I hope that illustrates my point, because those each one of these is definitely illustrated here. So yeah, um, I'm not sure if you're interested even in having this code for yourself. If you are, feel free to reach out at Be in Tribe on Twitter. You can definitely find me, um, find more about me in the description down below. And I'll also include this thread in case you're interested. How I actually did it. Honestly, Python was what failed me at university a couple years ago. I would never think I would be able to do this, but it's just such an interesting subject for me, this world of trading, that it actually made me go out of my comfort zone in that sense. And I think you can do it too if you really want to. And I did this during my work hours. I did this in my free time, and actually, in the end, it didn't even take me too long. It's just a lot of trial and error, right? But it's always a process of elimination. So you have to just use your, well, common sense, and you need to know what you want to achieve. So in this case, really, those three charts of ion, this one, right? Then it tells me, like, look, this volume, something is gonna happen. What's gonna happen? Bam, it's here. Like, it was evident, link at the time. I should have listened to volume more. Here, this one, that's like, well, really stands out. And then, of course, there are cases such as Go, right? So, let's go weekly. So, if you're not watching this, you'll have no clue what's going on. But if you have an algorithm that tells you, oh, okay, look, in the last year, these are the cases that occurred. These are the extreme volume cases that occurred on this coin specifically, and there it is. And so you look at it, oh, okay, this might be a range. This, and then you zoom in, right? And this was the weekly. So these two candles, really considerable volume. And then you think for yourself, like, how do I trade this? You know, do I buy on the retest? Do I buy at the low end of the range? And actually, in this case, you would have been given a second chance to enter. So be flexible. Um, I myself mostly trade breakouts, but I'm looking for more, and I think you can do so too. So this was my first trading challenge using Python, and I hope you took some value from this video. Definitely leave a like and subscribe in case you did. Feel free again to reach out at Be Independent Tribe on Twitter, on or via Gmail or YouTube in the comment section. I'm more than happy to connect with you. And yeah, I hope to see you the next time around. Take care.